Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Beauty Connective podcast, where beauty professionals all over the industry are coming together to grow, connect, and get really real about what it's like mixing business with beauty. Today, I'm joined by Brooklyn Carlisle, an esthetician coming down from Cache Valley, Utah, here to tell us all about what esthetician school was like and kind of how to start out in the beginning. So let's talk about your journey. How have you landed where you're at now?
Well, honestly, being an esthetician was not in my plans, I guess. I was actually in nursing school before I got married, and then got married and was like, I don't really love it. I don't really want to do it anymore. And my husband's like, well, you should probably do something, not just find some random job. So I was like, okay. And I ended up working for this eye doctor that had an esthetician clinic. So I helped out a lot down there, and I was like, actually, I really like this. So I kind of did some research, found a school, and I was enrolled a month after I made that decision. And I did school, and now I'm a solo artist up in Cache Valley. Like you said, I do brows and lashes, a little bit of waxing, and been doing that 5 months now. So it's been really, really fun.
Awesome. And so where did you go to esthetician school? Tell us a little bit about that experience, because I know that part of your journey was a little bit rough in esthetician school.
Yeah, so I went to a Paul Mitchell location, and it was weird because I was also pregnant during school, and so that added a whole other layer of stress, I guess you could say, because school in and of itself is way toxic. I think when you get a bunch of people together that are want to be in the beauty industry, there tends to be a level of competition, and so adding in oh, I'm pregnant and super hormonal was exhausting. But yeah, there was some issues with management and stuff being super weird, and the staff turnover rate was insane. We probably went through 6 or 7 teachers in the time that I was there, and it was kind of crazy.
How long is esthetician school?
It's 1,200 hours, so it takes you about 10-ish months.
Okay.
But I took a break in between, so it took me a little bit over a year.
Okay. So it sounds like your particular esthetician school was just kind of dealing with their own issues internally. Mm-hmm. But how did that affect students? How did that affect you guys as you were going through it?
A lot of us were just what is happening? If teachers aren't staying, then why are we here, kind of thing. And obviously teachers couldn't really say anything that was going on because they were trying to protect themselves and protect the name and the business. So there were times where we'd have school meetings once a week, and students would stand up and be so are you guys gonna tell us what's going on? Are you gonna tell us why these people are leaving? I'm giving you thousands and thousands of dollars. I want you to be transparent. But they must have had PR training or something, because they were we're fine, everything's great. Our teachers just had different opportunities, which we've come to know isn't exactly the case. And recently there's been a lot of things happening now that I'm gone, following a lot of the teachers who are posting things about leaving a toxic work environment with micromanaging and all this kind of stuff. So it was very unsettling for us girls. We're just here trying to get an education, and there's drama between the teachers that we can feel. It was kind of a heavy presence there almost. And I don't know, it's kind of what do I do? Do I stay here? Should I go find somewhere else? Should I take my money elsewhere? I don't know. I feel unsettling is probably the best word to describe it.
Interesting. I wonder how common this is among esthetician schools. But how many students did you guys have?
There were a lot. There were everyone had different start dates, so everyone was at a different time in their program. But in my class, there was 14 of us, and then classes after that, they would bring in 5 or 4. The classes after us were a little bit smaller, but at one time there was probably, I want to say, about 100 girls at one time in the school.
What was the dynamic among students when all this was going on and everyone's confused? I sort of wonder if it was when you have coworkers and you both hate your job and you kind of trauma bond that way, and then you become best friends because you both hate what's going on. Was it like that, or was it was that not the case?
It was like a mix, I would say. Like, some of us got along great, and there was obviously some situations where the girls didn't get along, and it was just like an added layer of stress. So everyone's stressed and everyone's mad and everyone's just trying to like get their stuff done. But I don't know, I feel like I have great relationships with a lot of girls, and sometimes we'll like send each other in our little group chat, be like, oh, did you see what this teacher said this week about the school? And be like kind of praising teachers for like getting out and realizing, and other students will like post about it. We'll like send it to each other and be like, I guess it's still going on now that we're gone.
Dang, that's so unfortunate, especially with all the money that you're paying to be there and like investing so much in wanting to be educated. Did you finish school feeling prepared to go out and do solo aesthetics?
Not at all. I knew nothing. They didn't really teach us anything about starting your own business, and in fact they actually like told us not to go solo. They're like, don't do it, it's a waste of money, like you're not gonna make it, kind of thing. And so I didn't know how to like run my books, I didn't know how to price myself, I didn't know like all the things I had to do, like business license, register your name with the state. Like I didn't know how to do any of that. Insurance, I had to figure it out all on my own, which also is kind of cool. Like, yeah, like I did it by myself, but at the same time it's like all of these people are thinking I can't go out and do it because I don't know how. The school never taught me, and they told me I shouldn't. So yeah, I did not feel prepared at all, but I felt like I didn't really have a choice. Just went for it.
So what did that look like after you graduated, and trying to figure out all those things and kind of like get up off the ground on your own?
It was definitely hard. It was a lot of messaging other people who had done it. And there was a receptionist at the school that had done it and had run her own business for like 3-ish years. And she was the one telling us, like, don't listen to them, go do it. And so we talked to her a little bit about it, and she was like, do it, it's worth it. And so it was a lot of Googling, like, hey, what do I need? How should I price myself? It was a lot of math. Like, okay, if I buy lashes from this company, how much is it going to cost me to do a service? And then factoring all of that kind of stuff. And then taking into account, like, how everyone else is priced around me too was a big thing. So I did a lot of research, like looking at other girls in the valley and seeing how they were priced. So I didn't want to underprice myself, but I didn't want to overprice myself, especially coming right out of school. So it was a lot of research, a lot of Google, and a lot of like phone calls with the state and my city trying to get my business license figured out and my insurance figured out, and finding a space that worked for me, and finding a group of girls in a salon environment that I really vibed with. So it took a long time, but we got there.
Nice. Congrats. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
What has it looked like building your clientele? You said it's been about 5 months since you graduated from school?
Since I started.
Okay.
It's been almost like 7 months since I graduated.
Okay. Yeah. What's it look like building your clientele over the past few months?
It's been kind of fun, honestly. I've been doing a lot of marketing, like on social media, and doing like referrals. Like I've gotten a lot of clientele so far from just clients that have came in and then told their friends about me, which has been great. And the salon that I work for has helped a little bit too, like with outreach, and they got me a handful of clients too that have stayed, which is really nice. So it's been a lot of just like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. Like I don't really have a choice, and if I don't market myself, I'm not gonna get anyone, and then this will all be for nothing. So I just kind of had this mindset, like I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna fail, and this is going to work. You know, like I'm gonna do it. Just
have to push through, have to do what you kind of like don't feel like doing or don't want to do. What has the marketing looked like for you? Like what does sort of that look like, learning about it? And or did you have any like marketing background or like know where to start? What did that look like?
I had zero marketing background at all, so it was a lot of trial and error. I think like finding out like what reels brought in the most attention. I struggled a lot with like trying to take pictures of my clients so that it was not weird. Like I did like the eye shot, you know, but I've had to learn to like edit my photos in a more aesthetic way so people are more drawn to it. I also do like monthly specials that I rotate through just to like bring in certain demographic. With me being near the university, I do like a student discount, things like that. So I just kind of had to learn like who do I want to market to, and then kind of find the techniques that work for that specific demographic.
Have most of your clients found you through, sounds like, word of mouth and social media?
Yeah, a lot through social media. I get DMs just saying like, I really like your work, when can I come in, kind of thing. So I'm like, every time I get a text like that, I'm like, yes, it's working. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
proud.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's possible for any esthetician that maybe even just wants to go to school and feels like so overwhelmed, or maybe they're in school right now and feeling like they're not getting the education that they deserve or that they want? Maybe they're feeling unprepared. Do you feel like it's possible for any of them to make it where you've been able to make it to?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of it is your mindset at the end of the day and where your focus is. Like when all those things were happening at school, I had to learn very quickly, like, okay, I'm not going to learn everything that I want to learn because of the environment I'm in. So I need to pull out my textbook. I need to put my phone away or put some music on, take notes, study, like practice, get my mom in here, get my grandma in here. Like, let's do some work. So I feel like if you have the mindset and are focused on like, okay, if I want to make this work, I have to do the work, you know, because if you're focused on all these things going around you, like you're never gonna be able to put 100% of your time and effort into building your own business.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like your focus and your mindset is super important.
I'm curious if there were other girls like in your program who aren't still in aesthetics even anymore.
A few. A lot of them are, and they're doing really, really well. But I know a couple girls, they're just not interested anymore. They're like, I did this thing and I spent all this money, but I don't know, maybe not.
Just like don't know where to take it from here.
Yeah.
Like don't really have like the drive to do it or whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of the problem is like salons in the area not hiring like people right out of school. They want someone with a little bit more experience, and so that was another added layer of like why I chose to go solo. But it's like if you don't have the time, or you're like, I don't really want to go solo, or if you still have the mindset that school taught you like it's not worth it to go solo, then they're not gonna try.
Mm-hmm. What about being solo feels worth it to you? Like, what do you like about it?
Well, I'm a mom, so I get to work my entire schedule around her, which has been great. And I feel like that alone makes it worth it for me. But also, like, getting to set my own boundaries and getting to set everything that I want to do. I don't have someone over my head telling me, like, this is how you have to do it. I get to decide that, which is awesome. I can set my own hours, my own prices, my own policies. Like, if I don't want to service someone, I don't have to. Like, I don't have to put up with anyone weird or anything, whereas, like, a manager might be like, sorry, you have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been great. I just get to be my own boss and do it all by myself. It's also, like, my ego is like, this is cool. Like, little me never thought I would do anything like this. So be able to be like, yeah, I'm building my own business. Like, it's just kind of cool. Yeah.
Totally. It really is. And I share a lot in that sort of pride of ownership of your own business and like doing your own thing and being able to have, like you said, your own schedule, your own pricing policies, all that is like, it's so empowering, I think, and it's powerful. And I think, I mean, I personally totally advocate for working solo, like doing it on your own, not having to work commission. I think a lot of people want to do that, or maybe tell me what your thoughts are, but do you think that a lot of people think that working commission will just be easier, bring them in more clients, things like that?
I think so. I think like when you're commission, I mean, it depends on the salon that you're at, but a lot of them like have clients already and will just like give you some. And so I feel like people think, well, I'm almost guaranteed money. Like I'm not out anything. Like I don't have to pay for anything. I can use as many supplies I want and not have to worry or whatever. Whereas like when you're doing your own thing, it's like, okay, gotta add inventory. I gotta manage all of these things. Where it's like, I feel like most people are looking for commission. Easier way to make money, not as stressful. And depending on where you're working, clients come to you easier. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's not as rewarding. You still have to like retain those clients, but it's like, if I leave this place, like, are my clients going to come with me, or are they just going to stay because they like the salon? Like, do they like me or do they like the salon? Mm-hmm. You have to ask yourself that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's pros and cons to each, and it's good that there's both. But if people have any sort of desire or like pull toward working solo, I'm like, just do it. Like, don't let anything stop you.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you think are some of the biggest things that estheticians face that like stops them from wanting to go solo?
I think money. buying into some of these like skincare companies, especially if we're going to be like facial, massage, that kind of stuff, it can cost a lot of money. And a lot of these companies have like minimum order payments that can be like really, really pricey. So I feel like they're like, oh, I don't know if I have enough money for that. I don't know if I can put that much down at one point, you know, because like once you get everything, it's like, oh, it's not that bad, but like that's a big chunk of change right when you're starting out and trying to get everything. So I feel like that is probably something that even I was like, oh, I don't know if I can afford it.
But you took the leap, and how have you seen it sort of like pay off since you did make those initial investments?
Well, I've already made like great relationships with my clients, and I've been able to profit so far, hit rent and some more, which is great. And honestly, like being able to be an example to like my friends and also like my family, and be like, this is something that you can do if you want to do it, and if you have the drive and you have the willingness to work your butt off. So I would say that.
It seems like that is such a running theme of, especially just, I think, being entrepreneur in any way, starting a business of any kind, needing to have that drive and the mindset of, like you said, like, don't give up, just make it work, keep going. What, if any, hurdles have you faced during your journey that you did have to overcome?
I would say maybe just like having confidence in myself and like not letting myself get walked over. Like clients maybe like not being super happy with the results and then being like, okay, like what did I miss in the consultation, or what could I have done better, or what will I do better next time? Things like that. And also overcoming like the nervousness about social media and being like, oh, I have to like talk to the camera and no one's there kind of thing. Like I have to record these dumb little videos, but I feel like being confident and knowing like, okay, this is scary, but do social media, like it's worth it, pays off, stuff like that. And then also just other things like trying to not let the girls in like the same salon become competition. Like it's not a competition between us, like we're collaborating and we're trying to get clients for everybody. Like we're a team, even though we're solo, we're still a team, and we still should work together to like build each other's businesses. Because if you have relationships with those around you, and sometimes it doesn't work that way, and sometimes it is competition, and you kind of have to like get over that and be like, okay, like no hard feelings, it's just business. But also like maintaining respect for the other service providers in your industry and in your salon and in your town.
Huge. And I want to touch a little more on the first point you talked about, having the confidence to sort of dissect times when clients are unhappy with the service and really being curious about that more so than how other people might just be like, oh no, someone didn't like the service that I gave them. I suck. I'm horrible. I shouldn't be doing this. Rather than going down that path of like self-doubt, how have you been able to, or what does that look like when you've had like a client mention, dissatisfaction with a service? What does that look like for you to kind of take the other path and look at it more with curiosity?
I like to think more of like the science, like, okay, did I use too much developer and they thought their tint was too dark? Or did I use the wrong curl for their eyelash extensions and they don't like that, it's whatever. So I kind of had to look at it as like, okay, what about the service in the tiny details made it so that they didn't like their overall outcome? And I had to kind of be like, they don't hate me, they don't hate their service, there's just something that they want to tweak. And so I'll be like really transparent with them, like, okay, I think this was the issue, what do you think about that? Like talking to them about it, and like not going into the whole of like, oh my gosh, like everything I just did, I'm never going to take another client again, like I might as well just quit. So I think having the mindset and looking at it from a different lens of like me doing the service, or like the service and the little tiny details that go into building a service, I think that kind of helped like separate it for me, and knowing like business versus like emotion. because I'm a very emotional person. So like when someone criticizes me, I tend to kind of like take a step back and be like, okay, like that makes me feel real good. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't have time to do that. If I want to keep this client, I need to make them happy. And I want them to trust me moving forward.
And I also think that's super normal to kind of have that growth period with a client where it's like, you know, the very first time they might not be 100% satisfied, but when they know that you're willing to help them figure it out and trial and error until you get it right, until you know exactly how they like their brows tinted or their lashes done, like then you've gone through that together with your client, and then they trust you more than anyone because they're like, no, she went through it with me and figured it out, and now she knows exactly how I like it.
Exactly.
And then you've gained like a loyal client that you're going to keep for a long time.
Exactly. And like every time they leave, I'm like, if anything happens, like please just text me. Like I give them my personal cell phone and I'm like, message me. Like I want to help you. Like don't just go home and be like, oh, this is terrible. Like I want them. And I try to create that space where they can feel comfortable enough to tell me, because I don't want to be like, wow, this looks great. And then they go home and look in the mirror and be like, this sucked. Because that would be the worst. So I've had clients like message me and be like, hey, next time, can we change this? I'd be like, absolutely. So I think creating a space where they're comfortable enough to even give you any sort of criticism is also great.
And just being able to take that with curiosity and not defensiveness. That's probably a huge turnoff when someone acts really defensive and then you're like, well, now I don't want to say anything to them ever again. Probably gonna go somewhere else. Part of, I think, being a good beauty service provider is just being open, being an open human being, like being open to hearing things and changing and adapting and working and improving and all of that.
Constantly, because there's always like new techniques coming out, or people are like, I saw this on TikTok, like, can you do this? I'm like, sure. So you always are learning, and like you said, like when you're willing to work with your client, they trust you more than if you were to be like, well, actually, I think they look great, you know? So
what advice would you give anyone wanting to, you know, make it in aesthetics wherever they are, wanting to make it as a solo esthetician? What advice would you give them just starting out?
I would say, and this has been like my motto doing this, is to bet on yourself, and just go for it, you know, like trust that you are capable and will be able to figure it out. Like obviously times will be hard, but if you push through and you keep going, like there's going to be times you're like, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I'm capable, but if you need to just take a breather and then jump right back in, like obviously give yourself mental health breaks because it can get a little bit hard, but don't let it like deter you away from pursuing your dreams, especially if it's something that you've wanted to do for your entire life. Like at least give yourself enough time to figure it out and see and test it, and you never know, it could really work out for you. I think just bet on yourself and see what you can do. I
love that. What's next for you? What's on the horizon for your aesthetics business?
A lot of the same, you know. Still building my clientele up, and being a part of some cool brands in the future. I'm helping market a podcast for Clean Skin Club called Face It. So I've been helping them a little bit and doing some events at my salon with some of the other girls. So I guess keep a lookout for that if you're local and want to attend. But learning new techniques, continuing to grow, and just being the best provider that I can.
Awesome. I love that. Is there anything else that you want to like touch on before we kind of wrap up the episode?
I don't think so. I think that's all.
Cool. Where can everybody find you to follow along?
My Instagram is _Bear by Brooklyn with an underscore at the end. Facebook, Bear by Brooklyn, and TikTok, Bear by Brooklyn.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Beauty Connective podcast. If you're a beauty professional who wants to help us revolutionize the beauty industry and make it easier for clients to find you and for you to find clients, create your profile today at thebeautyconnective.com.